Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today I have some really exciting stuff from Cascade Lake X news, 1650 Ti's release date, and tons of details on the Ryzen 5 3500X. But first, check out today's sponsor, Drop, formerly known as MassDrop, a group buy website with amazing deals on PC hardware. It's free to sign up, and if you do it today, you'll get $20 off your first drop-made item, so head to the link in the description below. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, we have a benchmark on one of Intel's upcoming 10th gen Cascade Lake X CPUs, and I think it reveals quite a bit. It was originally found on Geekbench by Momomo, and it's on the i9-10900X. Now, this is actually pretty interesting because that name was leaked on Bilibili last month along with what seems to be the other SKUs. You can see there's the 10900X, 10920X, 10940X, and 10980XE. So yeah, apparently Intel is adding a digit to make it the 10,000 series instead of moving things around like they did on their Ice Lake chips. Oh well, I guess, other than rebranding, there really isn't that many options. Either way, moving back to Geekbench, when it comes to specs, the 10900X is a 10-core 20-thread CPU. Now, in the benchmark, it shows a base clock of 3.46 GHz, but according to Momomo, it has a base clock of 3.7 GHz, so 200 MHz higher than the current 9900X. Basically, this could be an early sample, but either way, we can still look at performance, and honestly, things aren't looking so good. Video Cards actually compares the 9900X to the 10900X, and the 10900X basically gets the exact same score when you clock them the same. That means the 200 MHz higher rating is likely going to be around what it would be if you just overclocked at 200 MHz. Now, I will quickly point out the difference in the Geekbench versions between these two, but I don't think that has much of an impact. Basically, the 10900X really does look to be just another minor iteration change over last gen, but that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, I think this solidifies my earlier video on Intel being forced to drastically lower prices, which is why they all of a sudden focused on value instead of performance. And as I said then, this is definitely a great thing and shows the power of competition in the market. Next up for today, we have an update on the rumored GTX 1650 Ti. For those who don't know, the 1650 Ti is billed as a GPU between the GTX 1650 and 1660. This time we have a report from IT Home, but unlike the previous one that claims the 1650 Ti comes with GDDR5, IT Home is actually claiming the upcoming GPU will come with GDDR6. Personally, I don't think we'll see a big difference in performance either way, but IT Home also claims the 1650 Ti is set to release around October 22nd, and that's pretty interesting because we're expecting to see new Navi GPUs around that time as well. Basically, get ready for a new set of releases coming in the coming months. Hopefully they won't be all at once though, I need a little sleep. Who am I kidding? I don't need sleep, especially with today's next story. For those who didn't see my video on it, and I'll have it linked right here, Tom Apisak recently tweeted a benchmark for an upcoming 3rd gen Ryzen CPU, the Ryzen 5 3500. Well, apparently that's not all AMD is bringing, as the Chinese retailer JD.com recently posted a product page for Ryzen 5 3500X CPU. And it's definitely not just some placeholder because it includes marketing materials, comparisons, specs, and more. First up though, let's go over the specs. The 3500X is a 6-core, 6-thread CPU with a base clock of 3.6 GHz and a boost of 4.1. It has a TDP of 65 watts and a whopping 32 megabytes of L3 cache. What's odd about this is that the frequency is identical to what Tom Apisak claims the 3500 has, but according to Tom's hardware, the 3500 is expected to come with 16 megabytes of L3 cache, which I think will be pretty interesting to see because I'm not sure what workloads that will affect. Also, the 3500X apparently comes with a Wraith Stealth cooler while the 3500 may not. That or the 3500X is actually the name and not 3500, though there's plenty of room with Intel having the F and non-F 9400. Speaking of the 9400, we have this slide which gives us gaming performance between the 3500X and 9400F. As you can see, AMD is basically claiming the 3500X is on par with the 9400F, though I will say that Intel still edges out in most of the games they show. Then there's this slide that shows AMD's memory latency is far better than it was thanks to that 32 megabytes of L3 cache. Of course, these slides are supposedly coming from AMD, so it's best to wait for third-party reviews. But regardless, it's clear that AMD is strong set to compete in every aspect of the CPU market. So while that does it for today, what did you think of the news? Excited for next-gen Ryzen, or what about more budget GPUs? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And as always, have a great day.